to come here and talk about the talent, the talent as well as the startup landscape in the country. In fact, they spoke to me and said, why don't you speak on something on sales, because I've come from the sales marketing background for a little over 2.5 years in IT and IT related industries. But looking at the speakers, I thought it'd be very appropriate that I speak about the startup community and the key challenges which we are having in the startup community and how to make it a much more inclusive activity for the country. What I have done is basically collated about 4-5 slides only, and it gives you an idea about what is the real startup community in the country. As the slides come on, let me just share with you that NASSCOM started this initiative about a little over 1.5 years ago. What we call it is the 10K initiatives. The 10K initiatives is basically supported by the government of Karnataka. 75% comes from the government of Karnataka, balance from the industry. And what is very interesting about it is when we started, I would say that we had a fantastic response straight away, because when we asked for application, we got about 7,000 applications. And we were surprised to see that a huge talent is there in the country which wants to look at startup in a big way. So this particular thing, we looked at it and started a warehouse we call it a warehouse, because we didn't know what other name to call, because incubation is something very big. So we didn't want to call it incubation, so we started calling it as a warehouse, and it's in the old airport road in Bangalore. What happened is that we had about 28 of them coming into a warehouse, and they've graduated over there over a period of time. The minute they get the first order, the minute they get the funding, they move out, and the next lot of people come in. While we had 7,000, we have actually kept about 800 to 1,000 of them in our overall database. So the entire activity, what we do for the 28 of them, we do for the balance of them. And the good thing is, because it started off, the other governments are also taken it. But having said that, let me give you an idea about where exactly it is. Basically, what I call it is, it's a state of the union, though it's not a good word. Union is always US based. But having said that, in India, the story is that we are one of the fastest growing startup community in the world. Currently, we are 4th largest. We have overtaken Canada. Shortly, next year, we'll be overtaking Israel. And by year 2020, we will be the 2nd largest startup community in the world, next only to US. 800 startups came last year itself, so just gives you an idea how exactly we are going. And of course, there are a lot of challenges which we have. You can see over here, I don't know whether it's quite visible from there. There are about 550 plus angels in the country. Not all of them are active, frankly speaking. About 80 plus incubators and accelerators, that's very good and is growing in a big way. And 70 plus only active VCs and Ps in 2014, that is last year. About approximately $2.9 billion have come in since 2010 in terms of VC and angel investors funding. So not a bad number to say, which we have collated over there. But when you look at the right side, we have a long way to go compared to US, because we are always comparing to the best, right? So we have a lot of ground to cover. One of them is number of investors residing in the countries. You look at it, 25,000 in US, whereas only 700 and odd in the country. So we have a long way to go. Now what is very interesting is, I heard a previous speaker speaking about that he's a startup, fresh from the college, and that we have only 13% of them have no previous work experience. Now that is something not good, because we can definitely look at it, because when I started IT industry, the first job I had to take, any guesses? It was always government or a public sector, because in those days, 25 years ago, the reason is that number one, that was the biggest jobs available in public sectors or government, and second reason, very important, the parents' pressure is that you can't get married if you don't join a government company. So that is the second reason. But luckily, I joined IT industry. I joined Uptron, which is the UP government undertaking in the digital system division. So ever since then, I've only been in the IT industry. I've not changed. But then it has changed today. Few years ago, if you are an entrepreneur, Like, what, you don't have a job, is it? You want to become an entrepreneur. But today, parents are proud to say that my son, my daughter, unfortunately, only 6% of them are, I see only 3 of them, they say that they are entrepreneurs. So now the entire paradigm has shifted. People are encouraging, parents are encouraging their the kith and kin to become entrepreneurs. So slowly, the change has happened now in the country. But having said that, the good thing is that barring about 5% of the people are above 45 years of age, the rest of them are very young. Average age is hardly about in the 30s, and you look at the chart out here that 53% of them are in the age of 26 to 35 years. And you see all of them are young kids. The incubation center will come, all of them are having average age is only 27 years, 26.5 to 27 years. But again, the IT industry average itself is 26.5, so it's a good thing. And the entire millennium, we have seen our data says that by year 2020, 75% of the workforce in the IT and IT industry would have been employees who joined from 2000 onwards, which essentially means that the entire industry is moving towards the, what you call it as the Gen Y, right? That is how this entire industry is. The other good news is, since it's entire thing is engineering background, see 62% of them have the tech background. However, this is a combination of both men and women. If I only take data of women, it's not all that great. You'll find that the number one, up to 25 years of age is going to 16%, and here it is 63%, 45 years plus 0, and when I look at 36 to 45, 19%. I'm talking about only women, because women only contribute to 6% of the entrepreneurs in the country, and that's one of the main focus for NASSCOM, is that we are putting a lot of focus around women, and it so happens that I also lead diversity and inclusion. So that's one of the main focus for us is how can we get more women as entrepreneurs, because the number of engineering students passing out, you must have read in the census report, 326% is the overall growth of women in the technology front. So obviously there's a lot of scope for women to become entrepreneurs. So that's one of the major thing, apart from the overall entrepreneur landscape. Lot of challenges still exist, because whatever my present looked very rosy, all those great things, 2.9 billion is good, but then when you look at the US, it's still a far way to go. But however, having said that, why is it that entrepreneur spirit is really catching up in the country? Number one is, we clearly see that the domestic market itself is going to boom. We are clearly seeing that the government is talking about smart cities, 100 smart cities, right? And this is slightly, you look at the overall way the demographic is going. These are macroeconomic indications. Number one, you'll have more cities coming in, right? Just not in India, all over the world. 440 new cities are going to come up by year 2025. Cities which you and I don't know of. Like we all know of Dubai, we all know of Shanghai, we know of Beijing. But apparently 120 kilometers from Beijing, there's a new city coming up, which will have 1 million, and 1 million above is considered as a city that will have 1 million population. New cities are going to come up. Even in India, new cities are going to come up. The tier 2 cities are going to become big cities as we go forward. So obviously there's a huge opportunity for all of us. And the second very important thing is 60% of the population will going to stay in cities. Okay, so the other one is going to be there. GDP of cities will be very big. GDP of New Zealand will be equivalent to Delhi by year 2025. What I'm telling is all data from McKinsey's and PwC's. So this is the kind of data which is going to happen. So city itself is going to be so powerful, and the entire activity, as it is, India has changed from agricultural based industry to services industry. And this entire economy will be disrupted in the next 3 years. We're talking about disruption. So here, entrepreneurs are going to play a very crucial role, because innovation is only through entrepreneurs. Nowhere can industry play innovation. Industry can only scale. Government can sponsor research through education. If you don't have this 4 combination, we are in trouble. And in India, we are having some challenges because research is not really happening. Okay, so from the point of view of how large companies are working with entrepreneurs, and I see so many entrepreneurs, very important thing. While I would say about 25 to 30 of them have started collaboration, we have to move to scale, right? Whatever, as I said, industry's responsibility is scale. And association like NASSCOM, FICCI, CI, TI and all, that's a responsibility. We have to scale it up, right? So here, I'm only using the word GICs because I see bulk of the people who did, this is called as captives or global in-house centers, are the ones who are actually collaborating with startups in a very big way. Example, Target Accelerator they call, right? He has already done a great job in working with the startup community on a 3-month period. There's a corporate accelerator program. He's working with them, and that's how this entire activity of collaboration between startup and large companies are happening. Now the competencies offered, this is largely from the enterprise, this is largely from the point of view of the entrepreneur. Collaboration drivers are basically we are looking at the needs of customers, and one looks at innovation. Example, slightly technology is omni-channel, we talk about it, right? I use the word Target, for example, is a brick and mortar company. Walmart is a brick and mortar company. They can't really compete with the Amazons of the world, eBays of the world. What are they doing? They're looking at omni-channel as a very big area. And this omni-channel can also be applicable to banks, right? Because you're looking at different channels of delivery, different channels of reaching out to the customers. So they want to look at innovation, and the innovation can happen through startup community because they give you the experience of user experience comes in. They have the best experience in understanding the users, number one. Number two is they are able to come out with ideas which a typical large firm may not be able to give you that and invest in so much in R&D. So they look at starting working with them, and that's how this entire activity innovation happens, and also the client reach also happens. And other aspect is the digital disruption which I was talking about, right? We're talking about social, mobility, analytics, cloud, and there's one more area called as IoT, right? That is Internet of Things. It's already hitting in. Many companies are there in the country which are in IoT. This entire aspects will change the entire paradigm of how we are working, the kind of business we do. The people talk about BYOD, that is bring your own device to office. That's an old concept. Bring your home to office is a new concept. So that is the way this entire paradigm is going to shift. Next 3 years is what we are all thinking about. And even in a country like India, it's going to have more impact because we believe India will become the digital hub for the world. All the companies today are putting in a lot of efforts. Okay, and this is the way I believe that the entire ecosystem of startups, large companies, government, as well as education can come together. This is my last slide. This is barriers which we have. But having said that barriers, there's also positive thing. And this government here has done a great job. What they've done is, like the startups are there, they've taken 10 engineering colleges. They call it as a new age incubation network. Each college they have funded themselves. Each project they are funding it. About 90 projects are currently going on in all the autonomous colleges, government aided colleges in rural Karnataka, not in Bangalore. It's a good initiative supported by TI. TI is not here. TI is doing that activity over there. So what happens is more and more ecosystem is required. More and more accelerators are required. Only then the NASSCOMs, we have put a vision that we'll have 10,000 startups by year 2020, and that can come true only if we have more and more ecosystem, more and more large enterprises, okay, and more governments. Because Karnataka government started, West Bengal, we have a incubation center, sir. I came there, it's facing a nice lake. 7th floor we have that, okay. Then we have now in Raipur, okay, they have started. Then Maharashtra 2, one is in Pune, other one is in Mumbai. Then the other one is in Delhi, and shortly will be Kerala anyway is there. There's a, we have that tech village they call it. Then also Tamil Nadu. So all the other state governments, there's competition of course. They'll all be looking at starting more and more. But data, however, shows ecosystem is very matured in Bangalore because it's been there since so many years. So almost more than 1/3 of the entrepreneurs are here in Bangalore. The next nearest is Delhi. All the rest are in single digits, 4%, 5% and all. But having said that, when I talk about entrepreneurs, it's not only IT, right? It can be non-IT too. And when I mean collaboration, is not just IT. It can be non-IT. So why can't Coca-Cola, Pepsi's of the world, Hindustan Lever of the world, right? All the other companies, they can also start collaborating with us because IT is one part of it, right? We are giving solutions to the challenges and the paradigm which is happening in the market. So this is one submission I have because there are a lot of senior people, and when I talk about BIT, I know many of you must be very senior positions. So please do collaborate with us. We have a program now wherein we are giving our startup community, when I mean startup, please understand it's not only our startup, because NASSCOM stands for the entire thing. All our membership is free for startups. You just have to register, it's free, because completely funded by government. All the governments are funding it. So you just have to register in a thing, we keep that, we slice and dice them. So any companies want to work with any of the startup, they can work. That is how the entire thing is. So if you want big data analytics, we have. You want to IoT, we have. You want to work on a specific area on investment banking, we have. Like that is the kind of slicing and dicing we have. Retail, pharmaceutical, you name it, we have sliced and diced the entire startup communities who have registered. Who have not registered, well, fine. But again, please understand, NASSCOM is not the only body, right? There's so many other bodies too doing great work of it. Except that we are taking a lead because we are ITITS, we are 25 years old in the country, right? And more companies, according to me, have to come out, because only then you can make 10,000 startups coming up, right? But having said that, government policy is still not up to the mark. 10,000 crore they announced in the election time. How they have invested? Nothing so far, right? Whatever has happened is because of the what you can call it, the industry. Some governments in pockets are doing it, but the central government has not yet disposed of 10,000 crores. That's one angle. Policies are not up to the mark. Smart cities. When we talk about it, we have prepared a white paper, 140-page white paper. And when I talk to startup community, I tell them, please collaborate. I don't think you can win the order. Number one, you can't even compete. Okay, they will not even allow you to compete, because they'll put on some tender documents with some Vittel Commission's rules is there, which will not permit you to bid also. So the only thing is collaborate. Collaborate with the biggies who are probably going to bid for it. That's the only thing. Like parking lot makes sense for a smart city, right? So you should be looking at collaborating. So that's one approach. So the policies of the government for startups not up to the mark. Probably for SCZ we started some time back, they should look at the startup community for SCZ. It helps. The other thing is that we clearly see the other one good thing which is happening, because we are clearly seeing that startups are actually helping to become a leveler. I can give you an example. The big guys like Flipkarts, Olas of the world, so much of millions and billions of dollars have come in. Not 1 cent of profit they have shown so far, right? You see that thing, nothing is shown. However, the large other IT services firms are threatened today. Ask them to get 100 million, nobody is going to give them, because they'll be looking at their P&L. What is happening today? One way it's good, one way sad. It's becoming a leveler. It is becoming a leveler. So it's going to differentiate between the men and the boys as we go forward. So that's a good thing which has happened over there, the startups over there. Second thing which is really happening is people are started looking at it differently. Because today we were only telling about we have labor cost or labor arbitrage as the greatest strength we have in the country. No more. Because we are looking at it slightly differently. So you're looking at more of innovation, more of value addition. So that's why the entire company, so an Infosys has broken into two, right? They started product, one division, and started doing. Wipro has invested huge amount of money for startup community, right? All the large firms are thinking differently. So one way startups, you have changed the paradigm of working in IT/ITES. And from our own perspective, we believe we will not require so much of people. Only 6% was hired last year. As we go forward, the industry may touch 300 billion, but the workforce will only increase by 5%, 6%, because of too much of automation, too much of, what you can call it, of disruption which is happening. Industry will grow, but the manpower will be very highly skilled, and the manpower cost will be, as we go forward, will be on par with the other matured world. Okay, this is what it is. I said the negative, let me also tell you positive. This is not right on my part, only tell negative. We are one of the biggest country where we stopped controlling population, right? Governments didn't do anything, and the best thing which has happened, because we have the highest population, highest number of graduates coming out in the country. Now about 5.5 million graduates come out. Engineers, 700 million come out. By year 2020, 12 million people will come out. Engineers, 1.6 million. So what is going to happen for all these engineers coming out? IT/ITES cannot give so many jobs. We give 3.5 million this year. By 2020, we will touch 5.5 million. 2 million more will take. That's it. You guys can go abroad. Japan has got a major problem. Already, people are telling, please come to Japan, right? Today, the number of pets in Japan are more than children. Okay? Germany is having a problem. China is going to have a problem, by the way. Thailand is going to have a problem already. The data statistics from McKinsey. McKinsey is very good in that. Beautiful data they're showing how it is going to happen. What it essentially means is the talent which is going to be here is going to be for the world, not just India. Okay, you can tell your friends to start learning foreign languages also. Okay, so with that, I come to the end of my